What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. One thing that I have been looking at doing is putting keel guards on my kayaks, because the first time I took my PA out to Choke Canyon boat ramp, the very first drag gouged the front of the keel pretty decent. So I was looking online, found some Burley Pro, found some PVC, some DIY fixes, and wanted to go ahead and give them give a shot at doing the Kydex one. So I've done it on my Compass, I've done it on my PA, and I've kind of done it on my other Outback. So I have a little bit of confidence. I'm going to show you guys how simple it can be. Take note, I've never done this, never tried this. I've just been kind of working at it today, and I decided to make a video of it. So let me give you a rundown of what you're going to actually need. Definitely going to need a pair of gloves, box cutter, some scissors. I'm running out, but you're going to need some 3M double-sided mounting tape, some blue painter's tape, shears, just to kind of fine-tune what you're going to need as far as cutting corners and stuff like that, and your Kydex. A little sheet of Kydex. This is 0.06 millimeters or inches thick. I can't remember, but I'll definitely put it on Amazon. Put the link on Amazon or the picture on Amazon of which one I bought. And here's my my 2020. So I hadn't taken it out yet, but I really want to get this keel protected, because on my other ones you could definitely tell when I'm dragging it through the rocks or dragging it through through grass and stuff like that. It does get kind of tore up, but here it is. It's brand new. Haven't put anything on it, so we're gonna go ahead and give it a shot. It's not really that hard. It just, you got to be patient with a Kydex. You can't heat it up too much because it will melt. But let's get started, and I'll show you what you got to do first. So what I did first, I went ahead and made a template. Made a template out of paper, folded in half, just a regular sheet of paper. Fold in half, fold in half again. So what I like to do is find the point of where it starts to curve and comes down, and then put that cross right in the middle of that point, and you can get an idea of where this needs to be. Line up your marks, line up your straight marks, line up your T, line up your straight mark again, and you can tape it off. And I like this pattern because coming up here is fine, coming up here is fine, but once you get to this keel area, the Kydex doesn't really bend in a bigger sheet. So by cutting it, you know, 1 inch on each side, you still get plenty of coverage on the keel itself, and it's easier to mold. The Kydex gets warm and it gets malleable, so where you can kind of form it. And you'll see here that it'll start out straight, but once you start to heat it, it'll definitely start bending. So now all you gotta do is transfer this pattern. It doesn't have to be this specific pattern, whatever you want, whatever kind of design or kind of coverage you want. Just know that trying to bend it over this keel, the less material the better, but you still want decent coverage. So I'm just gonna transfer this, tape it to my board, and I'm gonna use that box cutter to cut it out. And you're gonna see how easy it is. So here we go. I transferred the paper to the Kydex. There is a darker side, I mean a less flashier side that has a little bit more grit to it, and there is a shinier side. I'm using the shiny side and putting that facing out. So I feel that this has a better grit to it, so my double-sided tape will stick to it better versus the shinier side. I don't know if it really makes a difference, but that's just my opinion of what I found out here. Excuse the mess, but I've been working in here pretty much all morning doing all the other kayaks. So all you're gonna do is use your box cutter. You're gonna follow your template, and you can just, once you get down to the edges, even if it's not the same size, just cut them straight, and then you'll see how easy this really actually comes apart. I thought about getting a cutting wheel, but this particular Kydex, you can use a box cutter and just cut it out, and it'll break right off. So that's one piece. Let me show you. It actually just bends off really easy. Kind of work it back and forth, and there it is. Pops right off. And let's turn it over. Like I said, once you get to these edges right here, you can just come straight down this way, and then straight up that way. And if you do mess up, super cheap. I think 23 bucks for four panels. That's it. There it is. Got it knocked out. Like I said, it comes off real simple. So now what I do, I'm gonna take the template off and kind of fine tune these corners a little bit, knock the burrs off, get them to where they're nice and smooth. Don't really need to do that, but it just seems a little bit aesthetically pleasing. And these heavy duty shears, they really help out a lot. It is pretty thick. Kydex. I was gonna try to use regular scissors, but I couldn't even get through it. So here's some Home Depot, Lowe's, real cheap, real effective. Now with that template back on, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and mark that same little area where I want that point at. So from here, just kind of scribe it in there, poke a hole through the paper, and you're able to use that point as a reference point to wherever that indentation of the kayak, the beginning of the keel on that kayak. And this is universal. I'm sure if I can do the points on this PA and this Outback, you can definitely use the same concept towards everything else. So here's the end point of where I want this Kydex to bend. And over here, what you can do, just for reference, so it's kind of where that point starts to make an upward turn. Kind of there. You don't really need to make an indentation, just kind of eyeball it. And that's where you can lay that point out. So now that I have my markings here on the kayak and on the Kydex, I'm going to go ahead and line it up to where those marks kind of line up together. And I'm just going to roll this over the kayak. Kind of give it an eyeball. Luckily it's flexible right now that you can get an idea of where you want this to lay down. I don't know if my head was in the way, but you can kind of tell where that point's at, where I want that to bend. And then from here, it's just a matter of getting a piece of tape and lining it up real quick. Right here, and from here, just gonna put a piece of blue tape. Make sure I like that position. Get another piece, put it up on top. Now you can start heating it. Oh, one thing I didn't mention: heat gun. Basic heat gun. Academy, Walmart. I mean, not Academy. Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart sells them. They don't have to be fancy. And let it warm up for a second or two. So when you're working the Kydex, don't spend too much time in one area, one spot. Keep it moving. If you're not too confident, raise it up a little bit. If you're a little more aggressive, you can always come in, but keep it moving. You don't want to melt this Kydex. You really don't want to heat it too much. You gotta understand it's plastic, and so is your kayak. So once this thing gets up to temperature, you'll see how easy this thing is gonna fall down. See, it's already starting to bend a little bit. There it goes. And so now that we got it bent over, I'm gonna go ahead and tape it on the bottom so it won't move. I'm gonna keep it right there. I like that spot. And now just run 1 or 2 pieces just to keep it in its space. I mean its spot. That's it. And now what I found is just start working your way here, working your way down, working your way down, working your way down. This is gonna, between here and here is gonna be your tricky spot. So you gotta be real patient in that area. And just like that, it molds pretty quick. Now once you get that form that you want, so the gloves come into play, because it is definitely hot. Just hold it in that spot. Just hold it, let it cool down a little bit. And if you gotta come back and retouch it now that it's still kind of warm, all you gotta do is come back, hit it 1 or 2 seconds on each side. Since it's still warm, you really don't have to keep that heat on it for too long. And after it gets semi-cool, get some blue tape, get that blue tape that I've been using. And just hold it down. Like I said, it doesn't have to be duct tape or anything like that. You're really just holding down the form that it's already taken. So now that you got that little section, just continue to keep on working that keel. And it'll come down really nice. I'm not a professional at this. This is only the 3rd kayak I've done. But a little bit of patience, it's getting done. And this is the tricky spot that I'm finding, is that you're gonna want to do it little by little, like inch by inch. Get one section held down and then tape it off. Once you get one section done, you can move to the next. You don't want to rush this keel spot, this corner. Take your time on it. Really get it molded, because this Kydex, there's like a sweet spot to it. And what that sweet spot is that you're able to move it without melting it. I already melted a little spot on my my wife's compass. Tiny spot, but I'm still able to work it. And that's it. Just keep moving it, moving it, moving it. So it's gonna want to stretch a little bit further down. So in a second, I'm gonna pull that tape off and stretch it again. See how it stretched already? So come down here. This is where you got to work it a little bit. Like I said, have patience when you're working with it. It's got to move on you. But since it's still hot, you can still work it. Just come back, hit it a little bit. Keep working it, keep working it. Don't get discouraged. Discouraged. You can always keep heating it up and moving it, heating it up and moving it, heating it up and moving it. You see how it's raised a little bit right here? You can come back and just hit that one little spot. Just like keep this gun moving. And then push it down. Push it down and hold it. And that little raised spot goes away. All right, that keel, that corner spot looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and finish up the the top part. Just come back, come down, and just hold it. It gets a little hot, so you gotta have some decent gloves. These are old work gloves that I had. Give it a hold, let it cool down a little bit. And perfect form-fitting Kydex keel guard. And there you go. You could always fine tune these little edges if you want. But since the tape's holding it down, it's not going anywhere. Let's see how that spot's just a little bit raised, so I'm gonna just hit it one more time. There we go. I like the way that fits. So you could stop there if you wanted to. But what I'm gonna do, what I've noticed on my other ones, is that from this section to about halfway down, it still gets some pretty decent scratches. So I'm gonna cut it here and cut another piece that's just as wide as the Kydex here. And then just form another simple spot. So if you can do this, another almost flat spots. So with the addition, I'm just trying to keep this as center as I can with the center line of the kayak. And that looks like I got it nailed right there. So now I'm just gonna tape it down to the kayak. Try not to move it too much. I said that looks pretty flush right there. There we go. I am just going to tape it right here. And from there I can start molding with a heat gun. Just like that. There we go. Gonna let this cool down for like maybe 10 minutes or so. I went back and made sure everything was lined up right. Both sides look pretty decent. I let it cool down. let it really get its form, peel the tape off, and I'll show you guys the end result. And there you have it, guys. Took the tape off, everything came out exactly how I wanted it. Sits just like that. It comes out and it's super hard, super stout. You're not gonna have any issue with it. I don't see having any issue with it. Like I said, it's pretty thick and it forms exactly how I wanted it. All I gotta do is whatever you want to use to adhere to the kayak. I'm using that 3M mounting tape. Put a strip here, and if you want, you can even crazy and get a strip all the way down the middle. I kind of like it just to where it's just enough to where I can still come back and mold it just a little bit. But having them down here, or across here, however you want it, really makes no difference. I've seen people use silicone just to mount it. And that's your preference, but I'm using 3M tape. I've also heard that some people are doing silicone, marine grade silicone. So on my compass and my PA, I put silicone right on the edges just to keep water from getting in and sitting inside this keel guard. I've heard it's not necessary, but if you want, you can put it on. If not, that's pretty much the whole process. And you can go back and mold it a little bit. There's a little bump here, a little bump there, but it doesn't have to be pretty. It just has to function. And then that's exactly what this is going to do for me. All right, guys, here we go. I got the 3M tape the way I want it. One strip on the bottom, one long strip, another long strip down the middle. I had an extra piece, so I just threw it in there just because I could. And now you just line it up. Line it up as straight as you possibly can. Because once it's stuck on there, it's not really moving too much. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick. So got that one on where I wanted it. Bumped it around a little bit. Fitment's pretty good. Same thing with the other piece, second piece. Just gotta peel that out and lay it back on, and then we're gonna be good to go. Here we go, guys. Finished product. Got both sides the way I like them. Fitment's good. I went back with a heat gun, and I'll show you right here. I went back and heated. I didn't put the tape all the way to the edge. For that purpose of what I wanted to do was bevel this edge. So here's a good. I don't know if you can really tell, but you can kind of see it goes in a little bit, so it's real smooth. Same thing with this side. Kind of put just a tiny bit, a little bevel in it, just so it's a good slick surface, you know, whenever you're coming in from rocks or gravel or whatever. Same thing with the edge. Can't really see it, but it's got a little bevel to it. I didn't put the tape all the way to the edge, maybe like a 1/4 inch before it. 1/4 inch before the edge, and everything went good. I'm not gonna put silicone on this one. I got silicone on the other two. I'm gonna see if it really makes a big difference or not. Plus I ran out, so no point in buying a whole new bottle if I'm just gonna use not even 1/4 of it. Anyway, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys help you out. If not, shoot me some questions. I'll be more than happy to answer them for you, and go get them, guys.